You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. We've got lots of news to go over, and we are going to jump right into it. We've got a follow-up on the story from yesterday about the FBI and the dates in which they went to James Comey's house to retrieve those missing memos. Now, there is some new information that's come out that shows that the FBI may, in fact, be lying about what happened and exactly when it happened. We've also got some other information that John Solomon from The Hill has brought out regarding James Comey and potential charges that could be coming against him. We've also got information from the state of Pete Buttigieg's backyard. The FBI has went in and closed down the South Bend Housing Authority due to some potential corruption that could be going there. Also, there's a story that's going around about Michelle Obama running for president, and I wanted to go over that with you guys because I saw a couple of things that caused me concern. Also, Jeffrey Epstein apparently interested in creating a master race of his own genetic seed. Incredible stuff, and it's all done with Harvard professional scientists, some of the brightest in our society. And finally, new information about Andrew McCabe and his role in the Spygate scandal in connection to the UK. So everyone sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a quick word from my sponsor. A unanimous act of Congress has sparked a $270 billion windfall across America. Have you guys requested your $1,818 check yet? Well, a new law from Congress has created this windfall. It's a lot like Social Security, but you don't have to be retired. And you can grab up to 24 of these a year. It's all part of a brand new income program, and it's explained in detail in a video at www.superpowerchecks.com. All you gotta do is sign up for the distribution list, and they show up in your mail without lifting a finger. Thousands of Americans are celebrating these paydays, and now you can too. Just go to www.superpowerchecks.com, watch the educational video. It's completely free. Remember, the information is free, and by supporting my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, thank you for sticking around. First of all, here, yesterday we talked about the FBI and the deep state basically aiding Jim Comey in his assassination campaign against President Trump. Remember that when James Comey left the FBI, he took apparently several memos that he had written about his time speaking with President Trump. And it was reported by the FBI that they went and picked that stuff up. They retrieved it on June 7th, and the memos were dated on February 14th of 2017, March 30th, April 11th, and then another one dated last night at 6:30, so that would apparently be on June 6th. Well, it says that Comey also says that he wrote a couple of other memos after he spoke to Trump. He claims they were missing, but they were emailed to Rybicki and McCabe. So basically, Judicial Watch has come up with 6 additional pages of documents showing that there are some discrepancies in the story of the FBI. It's important to note that the FBI visit on June 7th took place the day before Comey admitted leaking those Trump memos to his friend, turned lawyer, turned unpaid FBI official Daniel Richman, who then went and leaked the contents of those memos to the New York Times. Now, of course, Comey flipped the script on that, gave him a cover afterwards so that he could have cover, saying that his friend was an unpaid FBI agent. Okay, so he's absolutely not an FBI agent, but he's aiding the FBI and helping Jim Comey so that he can spread these memos around so that Comey could get the special prosecutor appointed in this case. Well, overnight it was uncovered that there are 2 major flaws to the FBI story provided yesterday. First, additional evidence shows that the FBI previously has sworn in a federal court that they received the Comey memos on May 12th, 2017. That's a full month before the dates reported in yesterday's story coming out from the FBI. Now we have a couple of tweets here from undercover John Huber, and it says, interesting find from Judicial Watch. New docs show FBI agents went to Comey's home to retrieve memos, and that was on June 7th. Well, there's a major discrepancy in the FBI story here, Tom Fitton. Why why were agents sent to Comey's home to retrieve the memos on June 7th when the FBI swore in federal court that the FBI was given the Comey memos on May 12th, 2017? And you can see that right here in this declassified document. Now, also, more evidence shows that FBI agents Rybicki and Bowditch, both friends and accomplices of Comey, retrieved from Comey on May 12th, 2017 his badge and a document related to a training course. His memos are not reported as being obtained. Very interesting. Rosie Memos pipes in here and says it would appear the investigative team was Rybicki and Bowditch, which is laughable. They both were at his residence 512, but the only items retrieved were his badges and a folder marked LEDA Training Conference. And we can see these documents right here. Well, the FBI is lying again. Of course, failed and fired James Comey and his gang are all involved. The thing that's just striking about this, you guys, is that there are so many lies involved with this story. So many lies from so many different people, no one can keep it straight. All the time, they are constantly talking over each other, giving each other different dates and times. They cannot hold the story together to save their lives, and now because finally we have an attorney general who is willing to actually do something about it, and through the judicious work of Judicial Watch, we are getting this stuff brought to the surface. Now, of course, we all know that the FBI is trying their mightiest to keep any FOIA documents from agencies like Judicial Watch, but luckily, Tom Fitton and his team have been working very, very hard. And very recently, there was a break in the case. The judge has requested that the FBI move at a much quicker pace to start bringing out even more information. So let's keep our eyes open, and perhaps we can see even more pieces of the Spygate puzzle crumble. Now, John Solomon from The Hill yesterday released somewhat of a controversial story. It's got a lot of good things in it, and then it's got some stuff that people kind of freaked out about. So we'll go through it and we'll talk about it. It's called James Comey's Next Reckoning is Imminent, this time for leaking. The Justice Department's chief watchdog is preparing a damning report on James Comey's conduct in his final days as FBI director that will likely conclude he leaked classified information and showed a lack of candor after his own agency began looking into his feud with President Trump over the Russia probe. Inspector General Michael Horowitz's team referred Comey for possible prosecution under the Classified Information Protection Laws, but Department of Justice prosecutors working for Attorney General William Barr reportedly have decided to decline prosecution, a decision that's likely to upset Comey's conservative critics. Prosecutors found the IG's findings compelling, but decided not to bring charges because they did not believe they had enough evidence on Comey's intent to violate the law, according to multiple sources. The concerns stem from the fact that one memo that Comey leaked to a friend specifically to be published by the media, as he admitted in congressional testimony, contained information classified at the lowest level of confidential, and that classification was made by the FBI after Comey had transmitted the information, the sources said. Although it's a technical violation, the DOJ did not want to make its first case against the Russia investigators with such thin margins and look petty and vindictive, a source told me, explaining the DOJ's rationale. But Comey and others inside the FBI and the DOJ during his tenure still face legal jeopardy in ongoing probes by the IG and Barr-appointed Special Prosecutor John Durham. Those investigations are focused on the origins of the Russia investigation that included a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant targeting the Trump campaign at the end of the 2016 election. There are significant issues emerging with how the FISA was handled and other misconduct in the investigation, and everyone involved remains under scrutiny. Patrick Fitzgerald and Daniel Richman, two of Comey's lawyers, and Keith Urban, his spokesman, did not return repeated calls and emails seeking comment. The lack of prosecution is certain to demoralize some conservatives, who long have called for Comey's head, but the IG report sent to be released within the next few weeks likely will provide significant condemnations of Comey's conduct. While they cautioned that the IG's final report won't be complete until it gets feedback from Comey's lawyers in the next few days, it is expected to conclude that the former FBI director improperly took with him memos that were FBI property when he was fired, transmitted classified information via an insecure email account, and shared some of the memos with his private lawyers. Some of the Comey memos were classified up to the secret level, but the FBI has not disclosed whether those were shared with his lawyers like the classified confidential memo was. The memos, which mostly recount Comey's interactions with Trump in the Russia case and include information about foreign leaders, were sensitive enough to require government officials to send a professional scrub team to Comey's lawyer's office to ensure all classified information was deleted, sources previously told me. In addition, the IG is likely to find that Comey engaged in a lack of candor, or lied, when FBI agents came to retrieve the classified memos in his possession, failing to tell the interviewing agent that he had forwarded some of the sensitive memos by email, according to sources familiar with the probe. Documents released Tuesday by the FBI to the conservative group Judicial Watch support that conclusion, showing the FBI report on its meeting with Comey at his home to recover the memos made no mention that the ex-director had forwarded the memos on to others. The revelations are likely to dent Comey's carefully manufactured image as a law and order FBI director who was fired for standing up to Trump. The IG concluded in prior investigations that Comey's firing was not driven by Trump's fears about the Russia investigation ruining his presidency, but rather by DOJ concerns about Comey's performance in the Hillary Clinton email probe. Horowitz concluded that Comey wrongly usurped the authority of the Attorney General when on July 5, 2016, he announced he would not seek criminal charges against Clinton for transmitting classified information, some of it top secret, on her insecure private email server. That IG report also chided Comey for criticizing Clinton's email practices as reckless without filing charges and for improperly announcing the reopening of the email probe in late October 2016, just a few weeks before Election Day when Clinton and Trump were locked in a tight race. Ironically, Comey's decision not to charge Clinton for violating the Espionage Act for mishandling classified information on her email server mirrors the same rationale that bars DOJ applied in declining prosecution of him, a lack of evidence of intent. That won't be lost on conservatives, who almost certainly will dislike the DOJ's Comey decision. But the IG report at least reaffirms what has become painfully clear to Americans the past 2 years. Comey entered the FBI chief's job with a reputation for excellence, but ran a bureau that suffered from ineptitude, political shenanigans, leaking, and significant human failings, all of which sharply contrast with the morality lectures he's become famous for frequently offering since he was fired. Now, a couple of things here. We all know that intent is not part of the law. It does not matter what your intention was when you leaked classified documents or transmitted them in an insecure fashion, or when you lied to the FBI about doing so. James Comey mishandled classified and top secret documents in the exact same way that Hillary Clinton did. Now, I tend to think that the reason they are not going after Comey for this is because it's a relatively small offense when you put it up against something like RICO, or many of the other crimes that James Comey and the individuals involved in the Spygate scandal did. I think that they are going to save the ammunition. Keep in mind, I said this once on the channel before, conservatives can have a tendency to just barrel headfirst at the weakest possible target so that we can just get somebody. We want to see someone taken out because for so many years, we have been watching people on our side be taken down for just the pettiest of crimes, all right? We are not petty. We are patriots. We are seeking to make people pay for their crimes against the United States, our president, and our people. Simply transmitting classified documents when compared against these crimes is petty. You guys, it's all going to come down. Comey will be prosecuted, and many other people on his team will be prosecuted, but it has to be for the best possible reason, because that way the public on the left are not going to be able to say that Donald Trump is just going after people for, process crimes or for petty things like transmitting classified documents. I know that when it comes down to it, this is a law that Comey broke. It's a law that Clinton broke, and these are not petty when placed against law-abiding citizens. However, when placed against crimes such as RICO violations, it is very small potatoes. You guys, keep your pants on, get your popcorn, sit back and relax. As I always say, this will happen. It will come in due time. It will happen on Barr's time, POTUS's time, Q's time, God's time. Now, just as I was recording my video, we see that Q has posted and includes a story from Fox News about the DOJ not prosecuting Comey for leaking those memos. And what did I just say? I just said that it was because bigger charges were coming, and Q confirms it, says bigger slam dunk charges coming. Public understanding of events just around the corner. Guys, this is confirmation of what I just said, and I said it even before Q posted it. I am so happy when I'm able to figure this stuff out and get the information to you guys. So thank you very much, Q, for verifying what I was thinking and what I was just about to tell people. So glad that I'm able to include it in the video right now. Now, right after that was posted, we have another post, and it says C before D, coats before D class. The month of August is traditionally very hot. You have more than you know. And I do think that this is specifically in regards to not only D class, but the charges that are coming against these people. They will not be able to get past these slam dunk charges that will be brought in the month of August. You guys, keep your eyes open. It's going to get good. Hey guys, just one more thing here from the board. I wanted to show you methods. Just let me know that Patriots Fight has been completely cleared out. What does that mean? Well, until earlier today, this was filled with placeholders. We were told not long ago that these placeholders would soon be filled with actual information. The actual drops regarding real crimes and the people committing them. So now that Patriots Fight has been cleared out, I think we need to keep a close watch, because soon I believe it will be filled with actual information, not just placeholders. So keep your eyes open. All right, now, more FBI information. This is that story I was talking about with McCabe and his MI5 counterpart. Secret text messages going back and forth between them have been emerging, and this is spotlighting the UK's early role in Russiagate. Newly surfaced text messages between former FBI Director Andrew McCabe and his counterpart at MI5, the UK's domestic security service, have cast new light on Britain's role in the FBI's 2016 Russiagate investigation. Two of the most senior intelligence officials in the US and the UK privately shared concerns about our strange situation as the FBI launched its 2016 investigation into whether Donald Trump's campaign was colluding with Russia. Text messages between Andrew McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI at the time, and Jeremy Fleming, his then counterpart at MI5, now the head of GCHQ, also reveal their mutual surprise at the result of the EU referendum, which some U.S. officials regarded as a wake-up call, according to a person familiar with the matter. McCabe and Fleming's texts were infrequent and cryptic, but occurred with some regularity after the June 2016 Brexit referendum. In his text message about the August 2016 meeting, Fleming appeared to be making a reference to Peter Strzok, a senior FBI official who traveled to London that month to meet the Australian diplomat Alexander Downer. Downer had agreed to speak with the FBI about a Trump campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, who had told him that Russia had dirt on Hillary Clinton, the Democratic nominee in the race. Of course, we now know that George Papadopoulos said nothing of that sort. In 2017, The Guardian reported that Britain's spy agencies had played a key role in alerting their American counterparts of communications between members of the Trump campaign and suspected Russian agents, which was passed along to the U.S. in what was characterized as a routine exchange of information. Now, in May, President Trump issued a sweeping declassification order on materials related to the DOJ and the FBI Russia investigation, leaving it in the hands of Attorney General William Barr to determine exactly what happened to Trump and his campaign before and after the 2016 U.S. election. For over a year, people have asked me to declassify. What I've done is declassified everything, said Trump, adding he can look, and I hope he looks at the UK, and I hope he looks at Australia, and I hope he looks at Ukraine. It's the greatest hoax probably in the history of our country, and somebody has to get to the bottom of it. We'll see. For a long period of time, they wanted me to declassify, and I did. Now, meanwhile, also in May, Fox News reported that the discredited Steele dossier, assembled by former MI6 spy Christopher Steele, was referred to as the Crown material in an email exchange suggesting that former FBI Director James Comey insisted that the Clowns in America Director John Brennan pushed for the inclusion of the dossier in the intelligence community assessment on Russian interference. Moreover, much of Operation Crossfire Hurricane, the FBI's official investigation into the Trump campaign, occurred on UK soil. which is perhaps why the New York Times reported last September that the UK begged Trump not to declassify Russiagate documents without redaction. Let's not forget that shortly after Trump campaign aide George Papadopoulos announced his intention to work for the campaign, he was lured to London in March 2016, where Maltese professor and self-described Clinton Foundation member Joseph Mifsud fed him the rumor that Russia had damaging information on Hillary Clinton. It was later at a London bar that Papadopoulos would drunkenly pass the rumor to Australian diplomat Alexander Downer, or so it is alleged. We wonder what else McCabe's texts with his MI5 counterpart will reveal. Well, it looks like this is probably going to continue to reveal the intense part that the UK had to play in the whole Spygate narrative. Now, we know that all of these players went and visited London. It wasn't just Peter Strzok. There was a huge meeting of people. We were just told the other day it included John McCain's number 2, his guy that gave the information to BuzzFeed on the Steele dossier. So I think that this is probably going to be a big deal with Boris Johnson now being the Prime Minister of the UK. I think that GCHQ is going to have some major questions to answer, especially with the counterpart of McCabe, Jeremy Fleming, and we'll have to continue to watch as more information is released. But very, very interesting that they should be communicating on such a regular basis like this. Even if it was infrequently, it was still cryptic and it was still communication. Now, from the world of Pete Buttigieg, the FBI is conducting an investigation at the South Bend Housing Authority and 2 other properties. This is from South Bend, Indiana. ABC 57 has learned about 3 different properties raided by the FBI in connection to an investigation into the South Bend Housing Authority. Agents simultaneously raided the Housing Authority offices on Alonzo Watson Drive, a home owned by the agency at 1910 Thornhill Drive, and another home in the 3600 block of Woldhaven Drive around 9 a.m. Wednesday. The Department of Justice has confirmed there is federal law enforcement activity in South Bend, but would not go into specifics about the investigation. The executive director of the Housing Authority told ABC 57 News that she was not sure what was going on. However, ABC 57 confirmed the home on Thornhill Drive that is owned by the SBHA is occupied by a man named Archie Robinson, who at one point had a contract with the Housing Authority for cleaning and maintenance. According to state records, he currently owns a business called KTR Cleaning to Renovations Incorporated. The person who lives in the house that was raided on Woldhaven said he is a subcontractor for Archie Robinson and tells ABC 57 News Robinson still has a contract for cleaning and renovation work with the Housing Authority. He says federal agents told him they are investigating the misappropriation of funds between Robinson's company and the Housing Authority. It's unclear if Archie Robinson and Executive Director Tanya Robinson are related. A spokesperson for Mayor Pete Buttigieg sent the following statement. Earlier today, the mayor's office became aware through local media reports of today's law enforcement action at the Housing Authority. While the Housing Authority is not part of the city administration, the mayor is concerned and will be closely following the situation. The mayor is in touch with the Board of Commissioners and has asked that they keep him informed on what they learn from federal officials. In the meantime, he has offered the city's assistance to help ensure residents are not negatively impacted by the situation. He has been advised that normal operations will continue. Inquiries concerning the Housing Authority matters, including this case, should be directed to the Board of Commissioners. Well, guys, keep your eye on this. This is, again, Pete Buttigieg's backyard, so this very well could continue to roll uphill and include Pete Buttigieg in whatever scandal we are about to uncover. And next, it has come out that the currently incarcerated billionaire financier J.E. has bankrolled Harvard scientists to bioengineer his own human race. It cannot get any weirder than this. Reports emerged that Jeffrey, the disgraced financier who is accused of child sex trafficking, sought to breed his own human race as funded by Harvard-trained and various upper echelon scientists to realize this dream. A lengthy report released by the New York Times on Wednesday revealed that Jeffrey manipulated his wealthy and educated connections to engage his fascination with genetic engineering and transhumanism, or the science of improving the population through genetic modification and artificial intelligence. Through this new age eugenics, Jeffrey planned to breed his own race, using his Santa Fe, New Mexico ranch as the ground zero for his community. There, he would inseminate 20 chosen women with his sperm. Jeffrey, through extravagant dinner parties, hosted events at Harvard's program for evolutionary dynamics, to which he donated $6.5 million, and sponsored conferences on his his private island to attract his associates. Among the scientists Jeffrey consulted were Nobel Prize-winning physicist Murray Gell-Mann, who discovered the quark, Nobel laureate and MIT's theoretical physicist Frank Wilczek, paleontologist and evolutionary neurologist Oliver Sacks, the well-known physicist Stephen Hawking, and molecular engineer George M. Church, who has identified genes that could be modified to create superior humans. He had allegedly revealed his superior race plans to a wide array of people beginning in the early 2000s. Harvard cognitive psychologist Steven Pinker found his way to Epstein through the introduction from several other Harvard colleagues. During a discussion at the university, Jeffrey allegedly criticized efforts to abolish hunger and reform healthcare because of the risk of overpopulation. When Pinker protested the bioethics of this, Jeffrey dismissed him entirely from his inner circle. Jeffrey appealed to many in the scientific community because he was willing to finance research that others viewed as bizarre. Many lauded him as a visionary, but others saw him as an offbeat fraud, and since his seedy exposure, many more have come forward to deny their involvement. Likely, as the disgraced financier's tawdry record unveils itself, more details will unfold. Like this child abuse scandal, Jeffrey's fascination with fringe science has linked him to a vast and influential array of leaders in their respective industries. In addition to Harvard, Jeffrey has been linked to numerous think tanks, universities, and prominent scientists in all areas of the field through his efforts. An anonymous NASA scientist said Jeffrey revealed his ranch plans at a dinner and cited his insemination partner as the repository for germinal choice, a now-defunct sperm bank which prided itself of its stock from Nobel laureates. He even had an interest in cryogenics and told friends he planned to preserve his head and sex organs. His former attorney and professor emeritus of Harvard, law professor Alan Dershowitz, recounts an uncomfortable conversation he had with Jeffrey where he contemplated biogenetic modification. Dershowitz told the Times he was appalled by Jeffrey's apparent curiosity with some of the more questionable aspects of this science, given the 1945 Germans' use of eugenics to justify their genocidal effort to purify the Aryan race. There is no evidence to suggest that Jeffrey has been successful in engineering his elitist race, but that's only for the time being. This is not surprising at all. I think that some people might find it ironic that, given his lineage, he should be using the tactics of the Germans from the 1940s. But we've been told in the drops that N does not stand for new. It stands for NAZI. There was something called Operation Paperclip after World War II. Those individuals that did not die, that were the cream of the crop in terms of science and the military, they were brought over here and they were integrated into American society. They are the ones who have taken over our country, and they are the ones that we are fighting against. They have disguised themselves under the cover of religion. They have disguised themselves under the cover of a particular ethnicity, but actually they are just the same people from 1945 in disguise, and they have basically infiltrated the intelligence agencies and many other areas of science here in our country. So I am not surprised at all to learn that this is the kind of stuff that Jeffrey was involved in. And also, sadly, some of these scientists probably come from that same lineage. We're going to have to definitely keep an eye on this. All right, finally, guys, this is an article that's making the rounds. It's basically printed in many different, blog websites, but it's pretty much the exact same text. But it claims that Michelle Obama just tried to register to run for president, but was denied. Now, it says that she wanted to run for 2020, and she went to the Secretary of State's office this morning. That's the first thing. This article, I think I first saw it around, like 10 or 10:30, maybe 11. So how did someone figure that out so fast and get it to these people at Conservative Army or USA Politics Today? And it says that she couldn't because although she's over 35 years old and she's also been born in the United States, there's a third requirement that people don't often think about. You have to be a resident of the United States for 14 years before you're eligible. They're saying that she is not eligible because as a child, her legal residence was in the British Virgin Islands. Her parents kept it that way so she would be eligible for immigrant status and special consideration for schooling. And it says between birth and age 22, when she graduated college, she had only racked up 2 legal years of residency here in the United States. But after college, in order to avoid paying taxes, she kept an address in the Cayman Islands from which she filed all of her tax returns. Therefore, none of the years between the time she graduated and the time she became First Lady count either. Now, it says that while she was in the White House, the Obamas filed joint returns, giving her another 7 years of residency. At 9 years of residency, she is ineligible to be president. Now, the only thing that I can find with regard to the Obama tax returns was in 2007, they did release their joint tax return, and it clearly shows their address as being in Chicago. I can't find any information for any of this to be validated. I can't find anything saying that she had residency in the Virgin Islands or that she had an address in the Cayman Islands. When you search Cayman Islands, you're coming up with information saying that Barry was trying to get the Cayman Islands thing shut down because it was a tax fraud haven. But if you guys have any information, if you can show me something that says that Michelle grew up basically in the U.S. Virgin Islands and not Chicago, I would really like to see that. But I know that this is a really popular theory right now. People are thinking that Michelle is going to run for president in 2020 and that she's the only one that could potentially go against President Trump. I don't think we have to worry about it, personally. I don't think she's going to. I think that this is all going to come out well before 2020. And, I don't even, what is the deadline for registering to run for president? I mean, we've got just over a year until that's going to happen. This is all things that are fair questions to ask, and I really wish that this website, USA Politics Today, would have included some sources so that we could validate any of this. But unfortunately, we can't, so I'm going to call it as fake news. If you guys have anything that you want to talk to me about with regard to this story, please do. You can always find my email and options for donation in the description of the videos below. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.